Great. All famous. Tweet this later. Everyone's going to be so smug, yeah.
So, yes. All right. Okay, I'll do that again. Hello. Hi, everybody who came in late. With all due respect, shut it. Love you, darlings. So good to see you. I'm so excited to see you. And I know many of you here, and you know me because I've been your teacher, and I'm going to shut up about that. So, hi, I'm Josephine Béart for the people at home. I will introduce again Samantha Béart, they, them, and Tamara Katalinic, they, them as well, who are together the team behind It Takes a Village. You're the host, and Tamara is the producer. But you might also know Samantha Béart from your acting in several of my favorite things. Actually, funnily enough, it's also, no, I used to listen to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy obsessively, and it's one of my sort of like absolute favorites. And so I found out you were Carlac, and I was like, oh, that's so great. But you're in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Oh my God, I listened to that so much. I love that. So yes, amongst other things, including the excavation of Hog's Barrow and things to come. Hey, good job. Yes, nicely done.
Two of us.
Yeah. But today we're here to talk about It Takes a Village, which I will pose the first question then. What is it and why did you do it?
So It Takes a Village is a live chat show that takes part on Twitch and is uploaded on YouTube for VOD purposes. We select someone from the games industry to shine a spotlight on the people that make the games, people that normally never get to do interviews, people who've been in the industry 20 years and have never done an interview, it turns out. And then there's a section at the end where we turn over questions to chat, which is then very carefully curated before that comes back to the guest. Josephine's actually been a guest. If you're curious, you should totally check this out. The YouTube channel is under my name rather than It Takes a Village. Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about what it is from your perspective?
I was pretty surprised to be included in general because I had never envisioned any of this, to be honest. So it is an honor to be here, and I'm very grateful because for me, I'm just a gamer, to be honest. I love playing video games, but I never realized the importance of just advocacy and in general just shining a light on the people you don't really see, The interviews that you see online are not really usually everyone who makes the games, so I think it was very important just to actually get something like this started and out there.
Do you want me to elaborate a little bit on how it started?
Yeah, because I know it came from a conference that you had over the pandemic.
Yeah, so remember in the beginning of the pandemic when we thought it'd be about a couple of weeks, and then I didn't bake bread. Okay, I'm very proud of myself. I think a strange hobby, but I thought it's about time, having been on panels about performing and talking to indie devs, that we didn't know what we all did. As a performer in film, TV, theatre, you have dedicated people for each discipline, and in games it became apparent to me very quickly that everyone's wearing hats, lots of hats, and as actors we need to be a bit more forgiving in the way we communicate with you, because we'll have expectations on vocabulary, ways of working, and your actors may not realise that. So if you do get an actor that thinks it's all a bit strange, just because they're not expecting that, we're not trained in games, that's a thing that's only just coming into the big drama schools across Europe and America anyway. So I did a half-day convention from home with all the people I'd worked with called Game Voices Connect, and again that's on YouTube, and that went from, it was panels and a workshop, so a panel on casting, a panel on writing, a panel on directing, and then there was one on post-production. So it was anyone that worked with a human voice, let's get you in a room, let's find out what we do and how we can make each other's lives easier. So that was the idea, and that was very industry-facing, obviously, and only a couple of hundred people has ever watched it, and that's fine, and that will live there, and that's, it's definitions, essentially, and it was meant to be a document of that point in time. And then fast forward to, I guess, summer last year, me and most of the leading actors from Baldur's Gate 3 were doing our first panel talks, and people were congratulating us on creating our characters, like solely creating the characters, and we kept going, it takes a village to make and I just kept hearing this phrase, and then that together with that, I thought, that might, and then I started streaming the game as Karlak, because Karlak does talk to herself, and I will commentate. So there's 3 voices if you watch those early streams. I thought it was entertaining, and then people said you should stream that, and I thought yes I should, but I want proper mods. Yeah. I'm a fan of Limmy. I know about mod drama. I'm very aware that that can derail things. So I waited a very long time, and that's sort of where you come in. I think I've summarised that hopefully relatively quickly.
Yeah, so just for a bit more context, we actually met at MCM October in 2023. I can't actually remember when your first stream was, to be honest with you. I think it was around the same time, almost.
I think you joined the second stream.
The second stream, okay, so I'm a latecomer. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha, yeah.
You can highly recommend it.
Thank you, yeah. But it
Stream
was...
hipster.
That's it, yeah. So once we got that going, I think it very quickly kind of turned into more of a, okay, you have this platform, you can kind of do whatever you want with it, and I'm sure you have seen Twitch or still regularly watch Twitch. The platform is completely yours, the channel is completely yours. You can do absolutely anything you want with it. And that's pretty much, I mean, we got along really well, and I think that's where the conversation started coming up with, okay, what do we actually want to do with the channel? What do you enjoy doing? And that's when we started having all these conversations of, I think we should shine a light on people, and I think it should be documented. I think that was the most important part. It's not only having the live interaction, which we kind of went with because we wanted the opportunity for, you know, people who might not even be able to ask these questions to interact with the people we have on the show. And then on top of that is actually have it somewhere that's it's saved for forever, really, so people can come back and rewatch it if they wanted to. It just kind of dominoed from there. I don't even have it in my memory how every little bit came by, because it was on the fly. We just rolled with it every single time.
I want to add though,
Yeah,
it was so exciting. I was on holiday when we came up with this. I was texting you on holiday because basically if you were a mod of mine, you were going, what is Sam doing? They're doing Twitch wrong. We've offered them a Discord. Yeah. We've offered them, like, do more streams, make money on this thing. And we're going, how do we subvert this? We have this audience, and now how do we do something that might be a bit more valuable? Because we're providing entertainment and everything, but to be honest, I'm not a CRPG player. I didn't think I was that interesting playing it. It was a bit of a novelty. I was able to show some Easter eggs and everything, but I didn't think that... I certainly didn't want to play a 200-hour game forever, that I might not be very... You know, it was just... And then I enjoyed trolling the audience too much. Do you remember that time when I called everyone a Tory? And you all got it, and I had to stop doing it. And then people said they'd tell Neil that I called a star in a Tory, and he was like, yeah, I know he is. Yes, I do know Neil. I'm not actually in trouble with anyone. And I was like, no, I'm causing controversy. I'm nothing. So it was one of the... So now I play... If I haven't got an interview, I'll play an indie game instead. That's sort of the model of it, is we try an interview, but that can burn me up quite quick because I have other things going on. And that's the other thing, we tell people not to subscribe. You're going to get nothing for your money. You might get some emojis and stuff, but like, if there's an ad break, we all get a break. Yes. That sort of thing. So we'll get into more like behind the scenes in a bit, won't we? But we've talked over all your questions.
No, this is what I want. It's wonderful. It makes my job extremely easy, and I like that as someone who's lazy and doesn't want to. I mean, no, it means maybe we can skip to those questions because it's really a unique way that I think you've approached Twitch as a stream, because it's not a recorded interview, it's live, so it's not a conference that has happened. It is an experience that you can have in the moment. You have a community of people who come relatively regularly. I've been in those chats.
Every single
I know. I start to worry.
You're literally the most qualified person to interview us about this one. You are.
Oh, right. That's exciting. Wow. Tick. And the reason I'm there, because I'm sure everybody here knows Twitch chats can have a reputation, but you've somehow managed to develop a community there. Yeah. It's not just about the people you bring on, but it's the community built in that environment. I would love to hear how you approached Twitch specifically. I will. The first one, is this the philosophy?
Yes, this is the philosophy.
Here's your philosophy. Here you go. That.
And that's kind of got us through everything. That's the attitude towards making money on Twitch, second guessing an audience. So talk to me about moderation. That's your thing.
That's my background. Yes. So I've been doing any type of kind of Twitch-related moderating since I was 15. So I've been around for quite a long time. It's been around 10 years, and Twitch since then has grown and developed a lot, and so has social media in general. And I'm sure the unfortunate thing about social media, as much as I think it connects people, it can also bring about a lot of hate and a lot of trolling and a lot of bashing online, which is very unfortunate. And my belief is that as any type of moderator, wherever you are the extension of the person you are moderating for. You might not agree with some things, or you might feel, you might take something personally, but it doesn't matter because you're actually just representing the person you're modding for. So there was a lot of thought put into, okay, and a lot of actually conversation between yourself and me. It was, what are your boundaries? That was really the number one thing, is what are your boundaries? What are you not comfortable with? How do you want this to be handled? How do you want it to be curated? Because the thing for me is, I've been a viewer and I've also been a mod. I want everyone to feel included. I don't want to come into a Twitch chat and start banning people. That's not fun for me. I don't do it as a hobby. It's like, oh, let me just ban you today, you know. It's not, yeah, exactly. I don't just swing it wildly, right? But I do want to keep the person I'm moderating for safe. And I will say the Baldur's Gate 3 community in general are some of the most lovely people I've ever met, the most respectful, and the most just involved in everything. They really pour so much love back into not just the game, but the people who made it, the actors, everyone. So it's actually been a pretty easy job because everyone's just so lovely. Everyone's just so lovely. And if anybody needs, you know, any reminding, it's just a very gentle, like, hey, you know, you might want to keep that to yourself. We don't need to hear about your hobbies at home and what you like. You just keep that to yourself, you know. Yes, but for the most part, it's been fantastic. It's really just about having that power to either something, you know, nip something in the bud, or just politely message someone to just be like, hey, you might be stepping on some boundaries here. But really, other than that, it's been very lovely with everyone. Like,
you guys have looked after me so well. I remember like those early BG3 streams when we had like 1,500 people. We've shed so many of them. You really want to see me monkey around as the character and you know, whatever. But I just remember seeing just blocks of text disappear before I could read them. And I never saw anything and had to go, all right, don't think about that. It was already done for me. But that was very much at the beginning, and you pruned that very well. What I will say is I for a time was in... I was a consultant IT infrastructure engineer. Sorry, service, right? That's what it was. But I had to work in teams, and I got obsessed with psychological safety. It's something that means a lot to me. I know at the highest level, medical and aviation, for example, if you don't trust your team, people will die. If you don't trust your team day to day, people are miserable, you know. And as long as like everybody's looked after, it kind of, you know, it comes from the top, right? It comes from leadership. So I figured if we were safe, then it would trickle down to the audience. I think it's the most frequent compliment we get is how safe and cozy that it is. And so that was maybe bubbling in the back of my head. It wasn't like, oh, I just woke up like this. You know, it was years of actually pushing that at work myself. Google have actually done an official document on psychological safety. It's actually really well written if you want to check it out, I think, for anyone working collaboratively. It's what people have in common. And the assumption is class, race, school, right? But it's not. It's principles and values. And once you have that in common, you're going to fly and you'll do your best work, because not being afraid to fail is at the center of everything.
Yeah, no, it's so interesting to talk to you in the sense about the philosophy of creating spaces and villages in that regard. I mean, as much as this is a philosophy and it's very funny and true, but the main thing that I've heard from you is this desire to build a community space and a community understanding that has the boundaries that allows you to speak openly, to be safe, to be secure, so that you can express yourself. And it's been such a pleasure to watch the guests that you've had on. I know you've spoken a little bit about this already, but what is it that you hope to achieve by creating that environment with those people in particular?
So there are people who are not used to being interviewed. Sometimes it's their first interview, which astounds me, because when you start showing videos of their work and everyone's familiar and they've played the game and you go, how has this happened? You know, then you've got the fact that it's an act of giving back as well. The way the games industry works seems to work in the UK is there aren't so many casting directors. We've got one in later, we'll talk to Kirsty Gilmore, but we don't have so many official gatekeepers. So in one way you've got someone who's not there to introduce you to others who remember your work, but there's also people who aren't there to block you. So it kind of works both ways. And what that means is you have to go to in-person meetups, which is great if you play games. If you're not, it's not so easy, right? So there's a little gang of actors that we've known each other for years. Most of us ended up in Baldur's Gate together because every British actor was in that game. So which is great, you know, you'd bump into each other and they're, oh, hello, I haven't seen you in years. But yeah, it was, you know, I would get a job from a composer, say, or I would be able to get a dev a job because I met a composer who needs maybe someone to help with programming. And it was just so collaborative and outside of the job. It would have felt criminal to go forward without interviewing them, and they've just been so good to me. And the feedback from me, I mean, when I do an interview, it's great. In terms of legacy, when we've talked about it, is that they've Googled me and they've seen Village. They're very aware of what we're doing, which is so heartwarming because that's the point. It is a legacy project, isn't it? Do you want to say any more on it?
Yeah, I just wanted to say there was one thing I wanted to add was because the whole aim of Village is naturally to shine a light on people you wouldn't see, you know, regularly, but it's also to make sure that the guest feels safe and comfortable. And we also try to pose questions that you wouldn't really hear in every single interview. And that's actually been I think the most common feedback.
Audience questions are amazing.
Yes, they have been. And they're very insightful because it allows the guest to elaborate on their job 99% of the time, which is indirectly it's helping the viewers because somebody might have an interest in composing, somebody might have an interest in producing, dev work, whatever it might be, but they don't really have the opportunity actually to ask these questions in such a space. And that's really what we try to encourage because, as you mentioned at the beginning, it's not a one-person job. It's really a collaborative effort of supporting each other, especially, you know, in times like these. You really just have to stick together, and seeing just the positive feedback from the guests, but also just the viewers of, oh, I learned so much this stream. You know, thank you for the opportunity. That's actually been the nicest thing to see.
And maybe the first time they've had love back from an audience, they'll be like, oh, well, you know, they'll get all these encouraging messages afterwards, and they're really blown away by that, and so they wouldn't have had the opportunity to. I mean, this is all not things we ever planned for. No. And then the other, do you want to talk about behind the scenes how it works for the guests, like the Google Doc?
The process. Getting the questions.
Yeah,
sure. Because the main thing for...
I do a really basic interview, right? I do a childhood to now. Sorry, I do a sort of childhood to now, and then I go, as we're talking, if you're thinking of stuff, because, you know, there'll be an obscure game that someone will go nuts for in the comments, and I would never have known that. And little things, or specialists, you know, will come in and want to talk further. It's
actually a good point, because that's part of I call it the moderating that I do. It's every single time before we do the stream, I talk to Sam and I say, okay, is the guest comfortable with the Q&A? That's my main priority. Are they actually comfortable with questions? And I will say all the questions that we received have been incredibly respectful and also just creative. It's things that I would never even think of, and I'm like, damn, okay, like, you guys are on it, you know, you keep asking the questions. But then what we actually do is we set up a Google Doc that Sam and the guests have access to. And it's kind of like, okay, would you like to read them yourself, or would you like actually...
But you've collected the questions, haven't you? And then you've dumped them into that.
Yeah. Basically, if somebody has a question throughout the stream, they can pop it in, and I copy paste it into the document. But because we don't want people to have ads, and we kind of want to, you know, Bezos doesn't need any more money anyway.
Really doesn't. Stop giving it to him, please.
Exactly, you know. So we actually use the ad period, because unfortunately they're unavoidable. We use the ad period. We put on a pause screen, and it's basically. And then we all get a break, don't we? That's good. Yeah, we all get a break, but it's also okay. If you have questions, now's the time to pop them in. Yeah. Just copy paste all of them into the document, and then I just pretty much mark them off as they go. But the beautiful thing is when one person asks one question, 5 more people will think of questions off of that one, and it's just like a constant cycle. It's great,
and even the so-called silly questions work, because sometimes it will be quite a heavy topic, and it just breaks it up, and you will find something else that's absolutely fascinating about this person.
I will say that that's one thing that I think surprised me the most. It was the fact that the space that we created was so safe for the guests in general, that they were starting to share things that they've actually never even spoken about in public. And I think that's when it really hit me of, okay, all this work that we're doing is not only benefiting, you know, the industry and the collaboration aspect, it's actually benefiting just everyone involved at that point.
Yeah, I've never had anyone say, can you cut that bit out? And of course,
No.
they always have
No.
recourse. They have recourse to just leave in the middle of it. You know, no one's getting any money for this. You know, it's just for fun. And then they said, you know, I felt so comfortable I was able to share these things. And of course, then the audience really appreciate that as well. Should we go into a little business model? Do you want to do that? Or
do you want to do that? Yeah, for sure, because we've got some fun slides.
Trust me, when I say we've demonetized, trust me.
Yes. So we had that little video, but maybe...
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, this too. Once you bring money into things.
Research.
Yeah, we did a little research because this is what I do. Is that playing or
I'll
not?
play the button. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
You've seen the magic.
No, don't look!
Seen the magic.
Oh no, there's other slides.
There are all the
It's not
slides.
working.
I'll fix it, don't
This
worry.
is the so during the pandemic, obviously Twitch boomed, and you know, because everyone was at home and had more leisure time. Isn't that fun? But that whole sort of act of hello, give me money, I will read your name out. It's not great, turns out. So there are many. I think I've got 7 studies that have been done in the last couple of years on parasocialism and Twitch specifically, and it seems to be worst in Twitch, not YouTube. And we're all being told, why don't you go to Twitch, make a Discord? And it's to do with this, what they call a 1.5-sided relationship. So in the past, the fan would scream at you, and they would kind of imagine that the singer is singing back to them. But this time, the singer is saying their name and saying, thank you for the money. And you know, you'll get a donut that gives you a lot of money. And I did not want to be in that situation where I'm going, where do I sit with this? In terms of Jeff Bezos getting, I say Jeff Bezos, Twitch, Jeff Bezos, getting 50% of all donations. And then I get taxed on the remainder for the work that I was putting in. Thought it wasn't really worth it. So, you know, of course it's a privileged position to be in, but I would recommend you take all that stuff off of Twitch if you want money to be sent. So, yeah, there's lots of stuff. If you Google it, there's lots of peer-reviewed studies on that. It's just a bad idea. And Discord. So a lot of it's about taking it into DMs. So I came off Cameo because people started to get a bit odd in the DMs. And Discord is you in a room talking about yourself all day under different categories. And as an introvert, I was like, why would I do that? So a lot of that actually protected me. I didn't know about this stuff, but that was part of long discussions. Sorry, yes, that was...
apologies for not getting into play.
Never mind.
It's an excellent series. We can share it later, but there's an excellent series of articles and screenshots of...
Which one specifically? No, you're all good.
Should we go to the next one?
Yeah, I was going to say, but it does sort of feed into what you were talking about, the sort of like the business model and how you've approached Twitch particularly. You sent me these lovely slides at the back end. That
You cannot turn cheers and bits off. So we made them so expensive that you just, I mean, if you wanna, you know, but thankfully, it was like 100,000. I couldn't make it any higher than that. I don't know what's that in Bezos bucks?
Oh, fuck, I don't know. It's really expensive.
It's probably about 10,000, I would say.
We just tried to max it. We were actually putting in numbers at that point and kind of going like, okay, 9999999 doesn't work. Okay, what's the highest we can go to basically persuade people to not donate? Because I think one thing that we should have mentioned, every single month is a different charity. That's really...
I think we'll get to that. There's a slide at the end, I think.
Oh,
with
fantastic.
The
Yeah.
Yes, because they have an urge. They have an urge to throw money at you because they've been trained by Twitch. I like this, have money. And we go, no, you can't do that. Give it to a charity instead. So we'll talk a little bit about that at the end, I think. But what's that even? Turn it off. What is it? I've seen other people do it.
It's basically an incentive for you to continuously level up the support
in money.
Yes, pretty much. I'm sure
money and attention. They're a great combination.
Well, for people who have watched Twitch, you've seen it. You know, you have a level 1 hype train, and then people will give 10 gifted subs, and it goes to level 5, and so on and so on. And it's basically every step of the way. It's just it's an incentive for you to keep throwing money at the stream. That's essentially what it is.
True, indeed. And also, like you know, you've got a chat show that can go quite dark. Sometimes, can you imagine a hype train?
Yeah.
Like, you just hang on to that thought, that memory that you're sharing. We got to go to ads.
Sorry to cut off your childhood story ads.
Yeah, so I've even turned off like alerts So I can't try and do it in the breaks when OBS does work. But yeah, any sort of giving and that'll be seen later. I'll read it out later. Yeah. So there's no reward. There's no money reward for giving me money. I don't want money. It's not what this is about. It's made it a lot more pleasant than it could be. And no benefits, none.
I should mention that was actually the conversations we were having at the very beginning. In general, it's that wasn't why you wanted to stream anyway. You didn't,
I enjoyed
you didn't
the
want
way
to be
it was.
a streamer.
This interactive platform.
Yes, yeah. I think that was the important distinction that I wanted to confirm just in general at the very beginning of, okay, here is what when I say Twitch streamer, this is what it entails. Is that actually what you want? No. Okay, let's demonetize everything possible because obviously I wanted you to feel comfortable with your platform. But that's really what that was in the end. Yeah. No hype trains, no money donations, nothing like that because we
have much. Yeah, you have to go to another. I mean, this stuff. This just tickles me. We kept it as low as possible. You do have to, I think I make like £1 on these. I can't make any less, and then they slap taxes and shipping, so it ends up quite big expensive. But I just like. There's a perverseness. I mean, it enjoys the idea. Someone in Idaho is walking around with "It Takes a Village," and someone go, "What's that?" And I go, "Ah!" And I just love that. I mean, I see where people are. There's Singapore and Australia and all over Europe, and people everywhere they're buying, and it just makes me laugh. So that's my own entertainment. Yeah. And then I do this thing called Streamily, and it's a relationship I understand, which is I get given money, I sign an autograph, they get that physical piece of memorabilia back, and that's the relationship, and that's the end of that transaction. And I understand that, and it has been how I've been making money, because fans are great, thanks fans, but not this. It wasn't ever going to be through this, and we don't push them much, we push the charity, don't we? Yes. Should we go to that last?
We can go to the last, actually, because I'm very curious about the reaction you've had.
Look at that, look at that number, it's insane.
The response that...
And they get that, the charity gets that. It's not half of it going to Twitch or tax or anything, that goes straight to those charities. So we do one every month, we try and theme it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So did you want to...
No, it's part of the response, because one of the things that... one of the reasons I wanted you to talk about this specifically is because, partly because I'm really passionate about the way you talk about co-advocacy, about this being about trying to promote voices that aren't heard, and that includes the charities that you highlight every month. And you have the guests come in and talk about those charities, which I absolutely love as a thing that you do. But it seems to me, at least, and I don't say this in any way that's sort of like superficially, whenever I go somewhere at the moment, I hear about this. So when I was at GDC, I heard about It Takes a Village. I heard, it seems to be having an impact. Yeah. So can you speak to that a bit? Because it seems to have. Had a reaction.
I mean, that's nice, isn't it? But that again, that's being a bit careful about what I put out there, not chasing short-term content. Content's a word I hate in this context. I don't like it. It seems to me very throwaway, and that's fine if that's your bag. But when you're an actual actor that's trained in certain things, when you have certain interests, that's not how I want to be remembered. And it's just a very stoic thing. I live by my own rules. I try and live in that so-called virtuous way, and I care about what. The fucks I give is maybe being remembered well. Maybe that's what it is. I won't be here. I won't know, but maybe that's it. Yeah. And I think any careers guidance is going to get you to think about that. What would you want people to say? What would you want people to say about you behind your back, let alone legacy stuff? And I think that's a great guiding light, I think. But yeah, it's great because it just means that the YouTube algorithm's working quite nicely.
Yeah, I think. At the very beginning, when we were just kind of talking about doing this, I had never imagined such not only positive response from the community, but also on the industry level. Me coming in from the outside, I had no experience really with the industry. I didn't realize how lacking the representation actually was. Yeah. I didn't realize how much it takes to make the games that we all love and enjoy. I had no idea. I think, and I'm a pretty heavy gamer, but I think Baldur's Gate 3 was kind of the first game where I realized, I was like, oh, this must have been a insurmountable amount of work that went into this. And that's when I started to kind of realize, and talking to you and your experience as well, I was like, oh, this is actually very important. And it was something that I wanted to get involved in. And even now, to be honest, I don't see it as work. It's actually just a passion. It's a passion because I love putting it out there. I love, bringing people together and being, because we're all the same at the end of the day. We all want to be part of the industry. We all want to make something we love. But seeing the response back and how important it is and how much it means to people, that's really that's what's driving the passion in general, to just keep, giving back. And And honestly, sometimes my imposter syndrome flares up a little bit because I'm just like, I'm just a little guy. What is happening right now?
Too late. It's too late. You're up to your neck in this, my friend.
I have been thrown into the deep end, and I'm just trying my best.
And how well are they doing, by the way?
Yeah.
Like, just incredible.
Yeah, and it's just been absolutely amazing, and it is it's like you said, it's a legacy, and I do want to continue it for as long as we can, really.
Until Jeff finds out what I've been saying about him behind his back. If I disappear, it's Jeff Bezos.
That's how we know.
Jeff got me.
Because at this point, we've just done 10 episodes so far.
We have,
Yeah.
Since, was it mid-December we started?
Approximately, yeah.
Yeah, not too bad. I wanted to do a couple a month, and then the schedule's been a bit...
Scheduling was naturally the BBG, really. But, you know, so yeah.
To speak to co-advocacy, though, industry's a bit wild right now, isn't it? Isn't it just... and no one's feeling safe. I know maybe the beginning of your careers, but no one is feeling safe. What you have is each other. Guess what? Not just to work with, just find the humans that have your back and you have their back and are very easy to hang out with. That's the village. That's the found family. This is how you get through all of this. Good life lesson. That's it. I mean, that's the other underlying. I mean, it's just such a great thing I've nicked off. Yeah, it's a well-known proverb. Just stolen it. But it's... you know, I was talking about lack of gatekeepers and getting each other jobs, but, you know, you go to these socials, I mean, you've been to a handful, but after a while, you're not networking, you're seeing your old mates and you hope they're well, and it's just very easy. You just want them to be okay, you know.
Yeah, you want the best.
But at the very worst, a support network, I think, at the worst, you have lovely friends. So that's part of the message, just generally, whether you're in game dev or not.
So I just want to add one more thing. I think you touched on it very briefly, but it was also the fact that some of the guests that we've had on the show have then actually gone on to get other work because of Village, actually, which is, to me, that's just mind-boggling, because that was never the intention. It was simply just to shine a light on them and be like, hey, this is this great person we have. Look at all their credentials. Look at all the work they're doing, but they're kind of invisible. And then to hear that feedback, I was blown away.
Well, I think part of that was because they would say, I can't talk about the latest thing because it's under NDA. And you go, yeah, but you've got your whole career in your life. And I don't think we've had one guest on that's gone straight into game dev. Everyone's had an interesting road to it. So, you know, we're learning things about each other doing it. Or you find out, you know, you went to the same town, or you grew up in the same town or something, you know the same people. There's always these discoveries to be made. It's absolutely fascinating. But yeah, we are kind of doing a little... It's a biographical thing, I think. That's the sort of attitude I take in the questions I'm asking. Yeah. Because people, again, you'll get people going, oh, well, I was thinking about it, but I'm 25, I'm too old to change careers. And you're, oh, sweet summer child. And, you know, we had Mark Choi on, he did a piano arrangement for the Baldur's Gate 3 soundtrack recently. That was at South Bank, which is why we did it, because it just happened. But it turns out he did The Witcher. You never mentioned that. It was a boss fight that we had a show reel, and for some reason I thought we should probably just show how the music and the game works together. And then people are like, I like that, I've played that, I didn't know it was you. Yes. And then, I don't know what's, you know, he does the London Video Games Orchestra, and I think there's going to be, hopefully, more opportunities for him quite soon. We've rambled, sorry.
No, you haven't, and this is exactly what I wanted you here for. And we will actually, very close to asking for questions from the audience, if you're still open for that. Yeah. Great, I did ask before, and I did. Thank you so much.
You reverse villaged us. That's what you did. You're like, yeah, sure.
Actually, this is just my revenge, because you asked.
Because you actually had an awful time.
I had an awful time. I hated it. It was terrible. I had a fabulous time, and you asked me some of the hardest questions, and one of them, two were really difficult. One was, you know, with the industry in the state it is, what do you tell your students? Which is a very difficult thing to ask someone.
Do you feel guilty?
Yeah.
Like I do.
On a Twitch stream. In front of a lot of people, and I'm like,
in front of a live audience.
So, actually, no, I really appreciated the question.
I feel guilty.
I
feel guilty.
It was right.
Encouraging people.
I feel guilty, but the answer I had was the answer you just gave, which is this idea of co-advocacy. Of, you know, there will be times when you feel you don't have permission to do this, that you're not being invited in. These are the gatekeepers. This is the system that's there. But the thing that you can always have is each other. The people that you've met now, the people you're meeting soon. And if you advocate for each other, you all get buoyed up. And that was the message that I really, really appreciated. And the other question was, What's the question that you always wish somebody had asked you, and I still haven't got an answer?
Yeah. What it is what's a weird fact about yourself?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what that question is. And a couple of people have gone, oh, I think Johnny Chiodini had a weird hobby and mentioned it. And it's like, oh, no one ever asks me about this.
They did, yeah.
Yeah. That was it, really. That's all. I just throw that in at the end because otherwise my question's a bit simple. So I just
I love it. No,
try
I
and
love
look
it. I
a
was
bit.
like, what the hell? Or maybe I don't want them to ask that, actually. That's a bad idea.
You can always pass. That's the great
yes,
thing.
there you go.
I will add one thing, because Josephine, what you just said, I think is very important, the fact that you have each other. It can get very easy to kind of be blinded by the competition. It's very easy to see each other as competition, just in general with everything, because you're going for the same work, you're going for the same companies even. But in general, just don't limit yourself. There are so many wonderful studios out there and just companies in general that you could work for. You don't all have to be under the same AAA company just because you had your sights set on it at the beginning. And yeah, honestly, just backstabbing is going to get you nowhere, to be honest. It really is. And I will say, you can definitely see, like at the socials you mentioned, the people who stick together. It really is like a family. It really is like a family. The advocacy is beautiful to see. It's actually heartwarming even for me, because I'm like, oh, everyone's supporting each other, you know? It's.
And how did they receive you?
I was surprised. Yeah, I was surprised because going back to the imposter syndrome, it took me a while to realize that it's like, okay, no, I actually am the producer of this. It's like I did help make this. It took a very long time to accept that for myself, just because I was fooling myself, really. But then seeing the lovely responses from people when you introduced me, it also just kind of hit me. It's like, oh no, I am part of this. I am helping make this, and this is actually very important. So it's been lovely. It's been lovely. Everyone's so happy to meet us and chat too, as well, which has been the loveliest.
And
surprise.
people are starting to pitch themselves as guests.
Yes.
But they don't know about our secret criteria to be a guest on the show. Number one mistake is yelling at me. We have a list, which we'll slowly make our way. I will add just a little bit on top of that of validation. You probably know the BAFTAs, it's the UK's version of the Academy Awards, and they have a Games Awards, which is great, and I was nominated and I gave an award away as well. But if I'd done film and TV, if I'd got nominated, I'd be in the room with people like Christopher Nolan and you know, maybe Kate Blanchett or something, and it'd be very imposter syndrome. Oh, I've made it. And at the BAFTA Games Awards, I knew at least half the people in the room personally, and I went, oh my God, all my mates are here. Like, this is amazing. And you look great. That really suits you. And we were so happy for each other. And that's just a testament to how different this industry and how special it is. And when I say industry, I mean you people who actually work in the industry, make the games. The people that have the money and are going to fire your friends and all that, they're not in the room. They're not there. When I talk about industry, I mean you people who are actually making the games.
Thank you so much. We have a bit of time for questions. So I can do one of the things. I can run around like a dervish and hand you the microphone, or I can just repeat it do you have a preference? Repeat it, okay. So I was about to suggest. We
just did that.
Hey, here we go. We'll just go backwards. Here we go. We go backwards. This is easiest. This one?
Hopefully you got good shots of it.
I was going to say the YouTube screen, thumbnail.
Oh yeah, that's a thumbnail.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, all right. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to raise your arms. You're in a classroom, so. Yeah, I know. You're in class again, everyone. You thought you were about to graduate. No. So.
No, we've done it. We've answered everything. We've solved the games industry.
Yes.
Well done.
I'll just go ask a throwaway question then. If the universal answer is 42, what is your universal answer?
It was obviously 42. I mean, there were many millions of years that were put into finding the ultimate question to which we have the answer. Bless you.
What is your ultimate answer to everything and everything and nothing?
Ray is being facetious, everyone, and ask the question.
I genuinely think 42 is the best that I'll go with that, yeah.
Do you have an answer, Tamara?
I'm locking in 42. We're going to go with that.
Yes, I mean, in lieu of anything profound, 42 it is. I mean, yes, absolutely. Thank you, Ray. No, it's lovely. I was going to try and repeat the question, but I shan't now. Lovely question. I like it too. And do you know the story of how they came up with 42?
He just thought it was a funny number.
That's right.
Yeah, that's very Douglas Adams, isn't it?
It was Douglas Adams, and I think it was
Law.
Dave Jones or somebody from Monty Python. They
Yeah.
were sitting in a flat. And
Oh,
they were
coming up with funny
They were
numbers.
picking numbers, and they were trying to
And
think
it's
what's the
great
funniest
because
number.
people now analyse that and they
Yeah, I
try
know.
and work that one out. And it's like,
They
no.
documented this conversation. They're like, is 3 or 17? What's a funny number? 42 sounds really funny.
Yeah.
Sorry to blow
No,
anybody's
it is great.
minds, but yeah. Sorry, we got into a very interesting conversation. Any other questions?
Yeah, we've got one. Yeah.
So we start there and then go ahead. Hiya.
So, who would be like, I mean, I know you've got a list of kind of guests that you want to go through, but who would be a guest, like your dream guest that you may not have like plans already like set for, and what would be like the funny question that you would love to ask them?
So the way this works is we have advocated for each other. That's the rule. So I have to know them and they have to know me. And that creates a lot of the safety in the room because we trust each other. So that's what it is. So when you get people pitching themselves, you're like, yeah, you're going to need to maybe do something for me. It's been a few years. So there's, they're good-hearted people who are just not getting their flowers. I mean, that's really the secret to it. So I think I'd actually, if there was like a dream guest, let's just say an actor that I really admire. Let's say Jennifer Hale, love Mass Effect. It'd be quite hard for me to establish rapport because I'm coming in as a fan and I've never met her. So that would be quite a different thing because I'm not a journalist, I'm not a real interview. I'm literally just putting my mates there and going, tell me what you've done that I don't know, and that's what it becomes quite a natural conversation. So it's anti-celebrity in a way. Anti-money, it's very anarchic, isn't it? Everything and nothing. Nothing!
I think I saw.
I was going to say, there was a hand here.
I had a good question and a dumb question, and I can't remember the good question.
Please ask the good question.
So I could ask the dumb question because you said, and you do like stream in like Carlex's voice, and like, do you talk to yourself?
No. No. What do you mean, why not? It's what insane people do, isn't it? It's quite famously documented as a thing that would be like a mental health problem. No, I don't talk to myself. Though. Sorry. Not actually, Carlac, sorry. I'm going to get cancelled now. Yeah. This is it, it's happening right now. Finally.
You were waiting for it.
I'm winning it.
Welcome to your cancelling.
Thank you.
We have
I think we have a question here.
Yeah, going through the bits and cheers and the limit that you suffer, how much you need to actually do it. How often does it actually happen that people still go through it, and what's your reaction to that? Does it ever happen?
Never.
Never.
No.
I actually didn't hear the question. What was it?
Because we set a limit on the bits and cheers. How often does somebody actually attempt to do it? Never, pretty much, because of the fact that it is so ridiculously expensive. I'm actually surprised, but also not surprised that they even allow such a high limit.
Right? Yes, someone is given that.
I'm fairly certain it's like 10,000 USD as the maximum.
Yeah.
So I think I would cancel you myself if somebody actually donated that. I mean, that is not.
I'll give you a tip.
Thank you. I'll take a cut.
Off the Bezos box.
Yeah. I'll take my $10 after he takes everything else. Yeah. No, really never. And I will say how I know that we've created a great community is because they actually listen to what Sam is saying when they say, if you do feel like you want to give any type of money, please give it to the charity. They are actually the ones who need it. Which is actually, it's been a nice response when the charities themselves reach out to you to thank you.
They just got because people give big, right? And like that Mind mental health charity in the UK, first night was £2,000.
Yeah.
And they were like, what's happened? They just wanted to they're like, you gave us money and you didn't do a marathon. What's going on? And like, I don't know, people wanted to throw money at us. So eventually some poor marketing person will go, what's going on? Who are you? They gave us money.
That's actually an important distinction because I feel very often what I'm just going to use the generic term streamers will do, they'll do like a actual stream for charity, and then that's it, one-off. That's the word I was thinking of. Yeah. Whereas with what we're doing, it's a month-long thing. Every single stream that we do, we
Oh, I
promote
mean,
the
but it's like
charity.
constant give, but the charity
Yep.
changes every month. That's
Yes,
the idea.
yeah. So we try
That's
to...
the business model.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
you want to throw money in this direction.
Yeah, and it's
And
lovely
they
to
do.
see the support they're getting because, you know, I mean, they rely on this, right? They need the support. So it's been nice to see that instead of somebody trying to be cheeky and going, oh, the limit's, 10,000, let me try and hit that. They actually do give that money to the charity, which is the whole aim of that. So
Yeah, and there's
it's
no
been
goals,
lovely.
there's no flashbangs or anything
No,
like that. We just get nicely surprised,
I
don't we?
think that the funniest thing you have done is because you were just fucking about. It was when if somebody raids and they get all these emotes on the screen.
Yeah, it's
That was just you
broken,
having a faff about. But that's really the most exciting thing in terms of alerts
Distraction.
and everything.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
have to acknowledge that and I have to break the conversation to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the question. It's a good one. Hello.
Take one more. Yeah, that's you.
Okay.
Your last one. Yeah?
Okay. Like two small, one small one and one bigger one. So like with all the advocating for it, I was wondering which, like a moment from your life when someone did something for you and kind of like made you want to go to this kind of movement and start this and like something that you really were like, oh, this is so heartwarming. And then one for kind of like everyone who's watching, like, what is something meaningful everyone can do when advocating for someone else? Like,
That's a great question.
I'll answer the first one.
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
want to join in with
absolutely.
the second. Most recently, an actor called Ben Starr, who plays Clive in Final Fantasy 16. Didn't really know me from Adam. We'd socialise. Actors actually help each other out in this industry. Very unusual. If you're not right for the role, you will recommend your friend. Yeah. They will have already done that for you. I had a situation with Amelia Tyler was being asked to voice a mixed race character, and she passed it to me. The game didn't get made, but the gesture's there, right? You know, there's all that. And Ben was he just wanted to work with me, and I was like, when is the shoe going to... What do you want? Yeah. So I was like, why are you being nice? What's going on? Because from actors particularly, and he got us the Future Game Show, if you want to see us pissing about showing games, and no one said we were too boring. I'm sure there's horrible comments on this somewhere, but like, yeah, oh no, they're harsh. Because they could just show a trailer list, but they have presenters, so we tried to make it a bit more interesting with that, and we kind of co-wrote that together. And then, he's helped me out with interviews, PlayStation Access, he's submitted me for games, he's given me contacts. I didn't ask for any of that. Of course, naturally now, here I am dropping his name right here, so well done, Ben.
There's
you
a
got
circle,
me.
there's a circle, yeah. That was his plan all along.
But I mean, that blew me away. I mean, I had to pinch myself, and I think I had words with him, like, what do you want? What do you want? I can't pay this back. I don't know what's going on. And so there hasn't been a condition for it. And I've just had to accept it, accept the love.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the second question?
Something anybody can do.
yeah. So how like we as everyone who's listening, watching, like what is something that would be a great way to advocate or like help each other out, like to stick together as a community?
I think one of the most it might not be the most expected answer, but honestly, check in with people. Everyone's going through something. Even somebody might have an invisible disability. Somebody might have struggles at home. Somebody might just be having a bad day. And honestly, everybody just wants somebody to listen to them. Even if it's 10 minutes a day, you don't realize how much that can actually mean to someone. And they'll return it tenfold because it'll always stick with them. So for me, I think it's that just check in with each other. Even if it's not about games, just ask how someone's day is going. It doesn't have to be "Are you okay?" day specifically for you to just be asking how everyone's doing. You know, I'm a big advocate for that. Just check in with everyone. Yeah. Just be human.
Can you be a bit human, please?
Yes.
That'd be great. I think and then from the business perspective, it is like if you're not qualified in something, or maybe you've got too much work on, like, feel free to recommend someone else, right? And don't keep a score. I think if they're not appreciative, you'll remember that later on. But, always offer that olive branch first, I'd say, and I think you're setting yourself up. I mean, Mark Choi was saying there were people he knew for 10 years, and then they offered him a job. Like, they just known each other socially a very long time, and sometimes those relationships take a long time to come around.
I will say also to be realistic with the timeline of how long something you perceive as success might take. You might graduate school and you're I don't know, 21, 22, and you think, okay, now immediately I'm going to go into the biggest AAA company and then my life is set. it doesn't always happen like that.
It's famously not happening.
Famously
like that
not
now.
happening.
Yeah,
I think being realistic and just realizing that some things take time to build, and you might not be at your dream job immediately, but just try to kind of take everything in. There's something to learn wherever you go. Really, don't be disappointed if you don't get into your dream job immediately, because I mean, even for acting, it can take a very long time in general. So that's one.
I think 10
thing.
years now when you graduate
Yeah.
from drama school. They say about 10 years before you actually, if you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got to really love it, and I know you guys love it because I know how hard it is.
It's a long haul.
It's a really long haul.
Yeah.
But also beware of success, what success means. I'd assume it's just you're happy at work because, I mean, the company can't love you back.
Yeah.
You know that. I mean, they're into the sort of Jack Welch school of hiring and firing for line going up. And it's going to be your managers and your colleagues and everything and you know, producing work that you value, and that's going to be how you work it out, not how much money or prowess the company has, I think.
Yeah.
That's just an opinion of mine.
No,
Certainly not definitive.
I happen to agree. So let's just say it's true, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. We've now created a universal truth. I love that.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah, it was a really good question. Thank you very much. I'm getting aware that we're running close to time, so maybe if there's one last question, otherwise, right at the back. How about that?
Perhaps it is obvious to many, but I just thought I'd ask to make it super clear for everybody. What is the Twitch and the Discord? What are they called? Are they called Village? Are they under your name? Just so it's easy for everybody to find.
A very good last question. What's the Twitch?
Where
Can we find you?
It's Samantha Béart. And I think the YouTube just has an underscore between the two. No, is it all one? You can find me. If you follow me on Twitter, you get a link tree and it's got everything. So please follow. Please turn up. Say hi. It'd be lovely. It'll freak people out because I didn't tell fans that I was here and you were here. And you can go, I was there in the room in Sweden.
You're very sneaky. Although they found you anyway.
Oh no, because I put Visby. I showed Visby on this ice cream and a blurry, and I was like, they're going to know, and they're going, enjoy Sweden. Is it too late to get a plane? Well, no. I mean, the thing was, like, if we'd advertised this to fans, you wouldn't be here, right? Because they would have booked the tickets.
Yeah.
And would have fought you. I know you look, you're Viking stock. I get that, but you might have just been a numbers game. It might genuinely, like, we have to be very careful. Like, we wanted to make sure you got first dibs on this.
Yeah. I would say there is no Discord, and there never will be a Discord, for a multitude of reasons. The first being it goes back to the whole 1.5 parasocial relationship. Second, it is a full-time job.
Yeah.
You need somebody manning it 24/7, and 99.999% of the time, it is not paid. It is all voluntary, and I don't think people realize the scale of that level of work.
And I've just said, don't give me money in that. Wouldn't be able to maintain it anyway, even if I wanted to.
No.
Which I don't. No. I don't. Thank you.
I just want to point, there is no Discord, there never will be a Discord. And that's the boundaries we were talking about. That is absolutely Sam's boundary, and everyone respects it, I will say. Nobody's like, when are you making a Discord, though?
I mean, they do. And then I go, never.
Yeah.
And then you child, never.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I'm just in that chat. I've made friends in that chat.
Yeah.
Because you don't need a Discord. They're there. It's lovely. Just go, just join what I can say, because their VODs are up, which I think is so nice, because it is a legacy, and I'm so thrilled you're doing it. I'm so grateful you came here to talk about it.
Thank you for inviting us. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's my
It's just
pleasure.
blown away that I'm here talking about this with you, because I'm an actor, I'm a performer. This is the fun side thing that I do that, I know there could be some import to it, but not to the level where I am talking to graduating students, so thank you.
Oh, no, that's entirely my pleasure. And I encourage people to come and see it when it streams. Because, yes, the VOD's there, and we're really happy because it's an amazing resource. It's really worth watching the episodes, mine included. And especially. But genuinely, it's a lovely community to be in, and I've made friends in there. People, I now go, oh, hey, you, and
you recognize the name.
Recognize the name, and then you go from recognizing the name to chatting, and then you share something, and it's just a lovely space. So I really recommend checking it out, just on the basis of it's very good, it's a lovely community, and they're not asking for anything other than just enjoying
it. Yeah, I actually just want to...
Enjoy and behave yourselves, because they actually do have banhammers. They do.
Yeah. Very good. No, I just wanted to mention that I feel there is something for everyone to enjoy in Village, and that was the whole point. It's always announced in advance who the guest is, so you can kind of get an idea of, okay, this actually might relate to you on a more personal level if you're headed for that line of work. And I will say it's an incredibly safe space in general. If there are any type of content warnings or anything like that, we always do give it in advance, because the main thing, especially for me, is that everyone feels safe, and that's something we really do strive for.
Great. Well, that's wonderful. And I can't think of a better advertisement to leave it on. So I'm just going to say thank you very much, Samantha Béart, Tamara Katalinic.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being here.